going to be moving on to a panel discussion, a thought-provoking panel discussion. And let me invite the panelists for this panel discussion. So we have with us from India, we have DrTPS Sasi Kumar. He is a very versatile educationist. He has also started an organization of his own. And I was fortunate enough to hear him in one webinar, and he is simply amazing. And big welcome to you, Dr. Sasi Kumar. So good to see you after a long time, I would say.
Namaste, Milka ji. Namaste, Milka ji.
Namaste. Namaste to you. Yes, it's your time, Professor Sasi Kumar. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Namaskaram and thank you, Edward ji, for this kind invitation. I was in contact with Edward for a different purpose, and then he thought, yes, I have to be invited inside. So it's like a triggering him to get into this program. ICGRIS 2021 with great focus on three different aspects which are very, very essential. Not, I don't say timely now and all that, because ever in education, research, innovation is essential. The word sustainability are being used in many places, probably one of the cruelest word for those people who are not part of the inclusiveness. Whenever we talk about sustainability, there is a big question to be asked. Whose sustainability? The rich need to sustain as rich, poor needs to suffer as poor, or what? There are a lot of questions being asked. Sustainable Development Index. We are talking about the Sustainable Development Index in the type of indexing parameters which probably are very tough and confusing. When we look at the whole countries in the world listed in Sustainable Development Index, among the countries you will see a small state which is Kerala. It is not a country, but it's a small state in India, but you will see its index, because the Sustainability Index, Development Index of Kerala is 6, and the whole India it is 66. So Kerala is winning over a lot of developmental activities. And if you look at why, the answer is very clear. Kerala is a total literate state in India. So literacy, education, research, innovation, all that will take long path on all the sustainable activities, development activities which the whole world is looking for. So if it happens to be anything on the racial issues, gender issues, talk about any other problems in society, I think the key is with education. Therefore, education need to be very clean. I was so happy when Dr. Asif Muhammad was mentioning about all the lacunas and problems of universities, private and government. I happen to be the director of Academic Staff College. I was part of Space Research Organization, so I was totally into research for 20 years in the government of India. I was also part of University Grants Commission, which is the highest university authority in India for approving all the colleges, and which I was the director for Academic Staff College. We had two roles to play. One is orientation, how to make teachers good teachers. And the rest was another, take the senior professors who must have done PhD 20-30 years back in an old age subject, how to tune them for today's practical situation. And that program was called the refresher training programs. So I was handling most of the refresher training programs, being in research and development in an organization like ISRO, which is one of the best in the country. I had the opportunity to fine track, take the professors into that path for doing research. And I found most of the time, most of the teachers do research just to get promotions from assistant to associate to professor. And most of the time what happens is the political situations, You spend more time in bargaining with the politics, they get into the vice chancellorship, you get into higher academics positions, and maybe a good researcher who is highly enthusiastic will look at the leader saying that what a stupid fellow is leading me, and it doesn't worth all this. And probably I will focus more on teaching. So as Dr. Asif was mentioning, there are research universities and teaching universities. The new education policy in India wanted to separate this. Actually, that is most of the stupid thing which any education system can do in the world. Because whatever we say in the modern technology or the tradition, the philosophy of education remains same. That is why all of us hold a PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. The philosophy doesn't change with the time. Maybe the subject can change. Even if I do in literature or in mathematics, my PhD is in mathematics. I am also a psychotherapist. So when I say doctor, my doctorate is with a lot of research. I did an MBA where I have to do a lot of research on what is the market survey for the design thinking, how do I do my supply chain management. All that research remains same because philosophy is same. What is the philosophy? Do I have that wisdom and love towards my knowledge? Love of wisdom is the Greek word which is called philosophy. Do I have that general fundamental question in me? Finding out existence, reasoning, knowledge, values, mindset, and use the specific language to convince what I think is good, and I must be able to convince the person who is sitting in front of me. In Bharatiya Shastram, we have the word Sanskrit language. Philosophy is called darshan. Darshan doesn't mean the eyesight. Though literally it means eyesight, it is the vision. A philosopher needs a vision. He is not seeing what is around you now. He is able to see what is beyond his timeline. So do I have that vision? That is why we call a philosopher as a visionary. A philosopher is one who can understand what is tomorrow's requirement. Assume you are a teacher and you are making your students to see the world of tomorrow. Don't you think as a teacher you need this ability? I keep asking, I must have seen millions of teachers in the world. Even an LKG teacher, I keep asking, do you know who wrote a Tingle Tingle Little Star? Oh, they say in the nursery book, in the primary book, LKG book, it is not written the author's name. But as a teacher, do you have that curiosity, quest, thirst for knowledge to understand who wrote this? We don't have. I did not get answer for most of my questions. For take the book and open and ask a question, they don't have answers. Because the teacher and the student knows equal today. Because they are working just for getting salary. That vision for my student has to become great is not there in them. Therefore, what happens? We talk about innovation, we talk about discovery, we talk about creation. You know, in India, we have a BTech or MTech or professional degrees in which people have to submit a thesis which says all that what is listed is a new innovation. I wonder if that case, India will have 3 crores of innovation every year because we have that many number of people coming out. It's all stupid. The whole academics have been a fooling program, and out of that, you know how many fake universities, how many fake engineering colleges? 71.5% of the employers who are working in different companies have fake certificate in the great country like India. And we talk about revolution changes. You know, most of the private universities, most of the academic tuition centers, nobody is there to check their qualification. So we have this fakeness. The ecosystem which Dr. Asif was telling, I have to do pronouns to him saying that what is practical life, everyone has need that logical reasoning. Why people at the higher master's level do not have the mastery of the subject? That is because in bachelor's level, they don't have bachelor. Do you know the meaning of the word bachelor? Bachelor means brahmachari. His Brahma, his creativity runs in that. If I am a bachelor of mathematics, my creativity should run inside that. You know where the word Brahma came from? The Brahma came from, the Brahmachari, the bachelor came from, we have a god of creativity in Bharatiya philosophy. And he is called Brahma. And that Brahma's wife is education mistress, education god, Saraswati. So if research is not wedded to education, education is useless. Wherever research is there, education will follow. Wherever education is there, research has to follow. But that is not a number of papers publication. It can be an innovative teacher. I remember one of my science teacher when I was in 9th class. When I talk to teachers, I keep showing them how a square can be converted into a circle, and you ask a question whether the perimeter remains same or not. You can just twist it and then see the 2 pi r is equal to a 4a in mathematics. But how many teachers are able to visualize this? If you are not able to visualize that logic, that power of thinking, that power of creativity, that power of conception, that power of originality in you to understand between the lines, not what is written. Will you be able to understand in between the lines? Do you have that ability of finding inside it? And if that cannot be inculcated by the teachers, all that research in terms of publication and PhD and defending, offending, all that is useless. So what is essential? Research has to be a fundamental quest for knowledge. And then in the sustainability world, as all of us, tomorrow I have got a dialogue with all African children from Namibia. In the youth community, I am talking to them. They have problem. They are not having connectivity. We are talking about the Sustainable Development Index, and then we don't have people who can connect to this world. You can imagine 80% of the people don't have connectivity. And with all the innovation, we are not able to take care of age 3 to grade 3 children are not being cared. And you can see the socializing ability of the children is being lost in the childhood. The replication will come later part of their life. So who are we going to address these issues? That is because we are good in technology, but we are not inclusive. If you are not inclusive, all that what we do is only for the great people who have got highest facility. I am sure we are not human being, because being human is essential. We are not social being because we are not social. And we should not talk about centuries. Maybe in the 11th century we had steam engine. To the second, we have electricity. Then probably maybe the computing has become a change in the third change in the 1900 ends. But today it is cognition, the direction, the path, the bridge, the configuration of the society to take them along with us. And I am sure we are, as a country in India itself, you can see the south and the north, a little bit of change happened in the last 3 years or 4 years if you take a statistics, and the middle part is still very bad. The statistic says that we have not even taken care of the physical, digital, biological change which are to be taken care of in the fundamental research so that the world can become more peaceful. The impact on economics, business, national security, society, individual change in the society, all these needs to be considered only when we have an acceleration which needs to be considered with highest priority. And that priority will make a national impact, a societal impact, and a world impact. Only the wealth of information is one portion, and that should not create the poverty in the other part of the world. I am sure the COVID has proved that only people who work in pharmacy can become the richest in the world, and they can buy the whole world maybe after some time if it goes like this. That is because we have not have that humanness in us, and that building bridge is what people need to understand. And I'm sure that should be the research area in which people should focus. I can go on and on, but I know that this is not the forum for that. Maybe we could dialogue much in detail probably in a later time when it comes to that point. Thank you for giving this opportunity, especially Dr. Edward and the people who are working behind this. And I'm so glad that I'm hosted on this platform where international people are listening to me. Thank you. God bless you. Inshallah, see you sometime somewhere. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love the wit and I love the humor. Your entire presentation was interspersed with a lot of wit and humor, and the way you brought forth those very, little details that we just ignore. Like, yes, we're all very well versed with technology, but what happens, technology, we're very good in it, but we still miss out on the being inclusive bit. I think these are things to ponder about. We are human beings, we're social creatures, but how to overcome these little, things that we're just ignoring and we're just moving forward. I think one always needs to look at the nitty gritty details also. We always look at the big picture first and perhaps forget those little details. So thank you so much for bringing that forth. It was a wonderful presentation and I'm going to repeat this, even though I may sound repetitive, the wit and the humor with which you shared your presentation was amazing. So thank you, Dr. T.P. Sasi Kumar. It was wonderful. Namaskar and dhanyavad to you. Thank you. And now moving forward, we have with us our next erudite speaker. He is from Bangladesh. He is advisor and professor, Bangladesh Tourism Research Institute. We have with us Professor Shahriyar Parvez. Welcome, Professor. So good to see you.
Thanks a lot. I give my thanks to Professor Dr. Alka because you are taking this conference in another level. And I also thanks to Professor Educator Edward Mondal and also Professor Dr. Asif. And I also give my gratitude to Dr. T.P. Shashi Kumar sir because he's a wonderful personality in my eyes, and just a speech, the pinpoint of the point he just picked up that yes, this will actually, and this is actually happening in this world.